back to the channel. Kiter Knight here, and in the last episode we built up the castle right back there, Castle Gwynhild. And as you guys can see, in today's episode we are building up the walls for the fortified city. But real quick, before we get into it, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as it does really help and I really appreciate it. So, building up the walls for the fortified city here, I really wanted to convey the same opulence and majesty that Gwynhild displays, without overshadowing it, of course, but also something imposing, strong, and fortified. And so I thought the obvious solution were to add multiple towers where guards can defend by having more positions for flanking enemies, as well as giving defenders better visibility over the landscape. Now, coming up with the shape of the walls was the easy part, as I knew I wanted to follow the natural layout of the plateau here. And so I just followed the natural grain and added in fortified towers wherever I felt made sense and give positional benefits, resulting in a build I am very happy with and proud of. But as you guys know, when it comes to the case of Minecraft, nothing is truly ever finished. And the same goes for the fortified walls of the city here. So as this series goes on, we may more than likely see a lot more changes, additions, and details and things added to the walls. So you'll just have to stay tuned to see how everything turns out as we progress. But enough said, and I'm gonna stop talking for now and allow the rest of this time lapse to finish out, and I'll be back afterwards to give you guys a closer look at the castle walls. So you guys sit back and relax, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, and we're back. So we're standing outside what I consider as the main gatehouse into the city. We do have at the moment a second gatehouse, which you guys probably already noticed from the time lapse. But I really have to say, I am very happy with the results. I am very pleased with how everything turned out. Again, things are subject to change and more details and refinements may be made. But as is, I'm very happy with how it turned out. You can just imagine a foreign dignitary or lord coming to this castle for the first time and just being impressed by the sheer opulence and majesty of the castle, as well as how fearful an attacking army would be with the castle's high crenellated walls and towers, with its overall imposing presence. they would no doubt have overwhelming feelings of dread. They would probably realize that they are going to likely be completely destroyed. It wouldn't be too pleasant for them. So I'm going to show you guys some of the defensive features that this castle has to offer. As you guys can see, stationed right in front, we have arrow slits, which allows the defenders to shower the enemy with arrows from a safe position. And so there's plenty of arrow slits located all over our castle. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. And one thing to notice that, as you guys can see there, the walls are machiculated. And I have to say, I really did my due diligence. It's a lot of work to get them just right and get them working and looking like the way they're supposed to look. They're not perfect, and I haven't gotten around to doing all the walls yet, but I'm still very happy with how they are turning out. But let's go ahead and move on. As you guys can see, we have a nice big gatehouse entry into the city with portcullis, of course. And one thing I mentioned in the last episode, if you remember, was Gwynhill Castle, which is the Lord's castle for this city. It didn't have any murder holes in any of its gatehouses, and it did kind of bother me. So I did promise I would make sure to add them into the gatehouses when I do the city walls. And as I promised, I did do my due diligence, and here they are, murder holes in all their glory. So now our guards can drop things on anybody who's not supposed to be here that's trying to attack our castle. Very necessary and crucial feature of a castle, I think. It's just 2, but 2's better than none, right? And more importantly, I don't feel too bad that Gwynhill doesn't have any. And again, as you guys can see, we have another defensive feature. We have more arrow slits that are in our walls, so anyone that is trapped behind that portcullis, when it comes down, you know, we can close this big wooden gate. I know they look kind of flimsy, but they are supposed to represent reinforced gates, which could be anywhere between 5 inches to I think about 7 inches thick, and so, you know, once that's closed, anyone trapped in there would get completely destroyed by those murder holes and these arrow slits that are stationed in our wall. So let's go ahead and move on out of this death trap, and we'll go ahead and check out some of the features of the wall. So let's go ahead and head over here. We're gonna go up these stairs, and then we come to a little kind of hangout area for our guards. You know, the town's people or the city's people during the day, they'll just see some guards kind of chilling out here, you know, boozing and playing cards and just kind of hanging out when they're, I guess, technically not on guard duty. And so we have some equipment around, because this little area is also used to store their supplies and some of their weapons. And once we open that door, we step into this area here, which is the first tower on our tour. And as you see, we have access to those arrow slits in the wall here. And another thing to notice is we have lots of supplies around. We have plenty of arrows, and we have some spears and some chests and stuff like that around. And one thing to note is all the towers in this castle have multi-purposes, where 1, they are used to store supply, and 2, to defend and have flanking positions, and also a place for our guards to sleep and get some shut-eye, because again, this is a really large city and there's lots and lots of walking that they would have to do, so they would need a quick place to retreat to when they're off the clock for a couple of hours to get some sleep. So in each one of these towers, we'll have what you see like on the floor right now. We have some riffraff, some little quickly put together kind of hay beds and stuff like that. So right here we have a little brazier hanging, and that's good because it also gives our area some light and some heat, but also in case of an emergency, if they need to defend, they can take and put an arrow in there and light their arrows and shoot out at the enemy and, you know, defend and cause a lot of havoc with that fire. So that's that. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. And one thing you guys will notice that I did add a lot of those little brazier things around the build, because again, I like the idea of our guards being able to use fire to help defend. So we step into another into the second tower that's connected onto the gatehouse, and as you guys can see, we have lots of supplies shoot about. There go our arrow slits right here, where we can look and get those good flanking positions. And again, we have just what you would come to expect from a gatehouse or a tower for our guards. And towards the bottom here, there we go. We have, again, more supplies, and then we have some places for our guards can get off their feet. Again, more of that riffraff bedding on the floor and all that stuff. We have some lighting on the hanging. You know, the very important part of this is just kind of creating that atmosphere and giving it that really rustic feel. And we got some crossbows on the wall, so if our guards may need a crossbow, they can quickly grab one. And then if we open this up right here, that door, and we come down, we come to those arrow slits that are in the wall. And then I added these kind of shutters on them in case if, you know, the enemy on the other side wants to get up close and try to shoot in, they can just kind of close those shutters to protect themselves. And, you know, I think it works for better maneuverability. So yeah, we have our arrow slits there. And again, we have more arrows and stuff like that around. So in case of our quiver, we run out of arrows in our quiver, we can quickly grab some of these arrows and refill and keep on defending. So now we're going to go ahead and make our way up these stairs right here and go into this door. And now we come into where our portcullis mechanism, or wherever you want to call it, is located. And as you guys can see, it's very simple. I think it's very intuitive, and that's one of the things I strive for when creating these. I kind of change up the design each and every time I do one. I'm still searching for that perfect design that I can just use across all my builds that'll work in all different types of situations. And I think I'm getting close. I really love how this turned out. As you guys can see, we have this mechanism up there on the wall where it's connected to a chain that's directly connected to the portcullis gate there. And then on the side, we have two counterweights where we have another chain that's connected to this mechanism, where obviously you can see and look at it and tell that our guards would turn that to wind the chain to either raise it or, you know, to lower it. And of course those counterweights would work. And we have our arrow slits again in our wall, so again our guards can defend and fire out while we have other guards shooting. And then we have that big thing of stones, so we can open up these murder holes and trap people in there and just toss those stones, or maybe just shoot some burning arrows down there also. And then here on the wall, this little thing right here, I just thought that it would make sense to add something like that. So now that is, let me see, there we go. So we have these tools because in certain cases, you know, our portcullis chains, they may get jammed or they may have kinks. So what do? We would need to fix that as soon as possible because it's being very important to get this up and running ASAP. And so we just have some extra chains and some tools to like break off the, you know, maybe the kinks in it and, you know, fix that up and get it working. And again, we have some braziers around where our guards can light their arrows and shoot out there. And at the very least, if they don't hit anyone, they'll be able to set the field out there on fire, which will effectively slow down and probably stop a marching army and siege weapons that are made of wood. And so that's pretty much it for this area here. So we're gonna go ahead and make our way out. Go ahead and close that door. And now we're just gonna go up and just check out some more of this tower. Again, guys, everything is pretty much gonna be decorated the same. Each one of these levels will have, as you guys can see, supplies and, you know, that riffraff bedding on the floor. So it's nothing different or really too new to see. So we're not even gonna bother to tour every tower for that fact, but we're gonna go ahead and open this door here, and then we're gonna come into, I believe, like the second level of this gatehouse. And again, we just have more supply. This is more of another area where our guards will be hanging out and just kind of chilling, I guess you can say. And, you know, in case of an army was approaching, or when the alert is sound, you know, they can quickly jump and just start firing out those arrow slits if they needed to. So that's just that. So again, we're gonna go ahead and move up to the next level. And again, guys, nothing new here to see. The same pretty much layout, just a different, I guess, spin on it. Again, we have the bedding on the ground, we have lots of supply around, and we have those hanging brazier fires that our guards could take advantage of to light their, their projectiles with. As you guys can see, but we're gonna go ahead and open this door here. This is the parts here that we want to see. So again, we have another kind of lounge area where our guards can just kind of relax and play some game and have some beer or water, whatever it may be, and that. And then, again, when it's time for them to hop to it and start defending, they can go ahead and open this door here. And now we're out on to the front of the castle, are the skate house battlements, as you guys can see. And our guards will be able to effectively fire at them. And if you guys look down, you guys can see we do have working machiculations. And yeah, again, I really did my due diligence because I really wanted them to look right and work and, look like they actually can work. And I think I achieved that. And so I'm really happy with how that turned out. And as you guys see, we have some stone here where we can dump that down on anybody getting too close to our walls, as well as shoot our arrows, or you maybe throw down a spear. And so that's that. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. But since we're already up here, we might as well just go ahead and check out the very top. And so we're at the very top, and as you guys can see, I really wanted to create that atmosphere. So we have a lot of cobwebs, and we have some loose rope hanging from the beams, and we have piles of hay around, because again, our guards would need places to sleep, and maybe there's not enough bedding on the floor as it is, so they'll just kind of grab some of that hay and make their own quick little makeshift bed and just knock out, I guess, for a couple hours until they're needed to get back on patrol. And then of course we have a brazier here where again we can light our arrow and shoot out at whoever's approaching our castle and trying to do us harm. We can look out this window here, and as you guys see, we have a really good view, sight lines there. So yeah, that's one of my things I like to try to do, is try to make sure, whenever I create a window, that the windows actually work effectively. So that's pretty much it as far as the towers. And again, guys, all the towers will pretty much have this same kind of design formula. So, we won't be touring them all, because once you've seen one, you've seen them all. So we're gonna go ahead and check out this last area here. Again, we're on the battlements, and as you see, we do have those working machiculations there in the floors. And again, we have our brazier, so we can light our arrows and, fire. We love fire at this castle. So that's that. So open this door here and close it. So now we come into another area where again we have more supplies, things our guards would need when they're defending, as well as a place for them to sleep and take a load off and all that good stuff. But what we want to see is, we have a chest here, and then we have some crossbows. Again, we're going to have crossbows around because that's like one of the most important weapons, along with our bows that we will have. But we're going to go ahead and go up these stairs here and open up this. Again, we're out on our towers, battlements, and again we can see how our guards will be able to have many different vantage points, many different flanking points on an enemy army that's attacking us, as you guys can see. And again, we do have working machiculations. And again, we're gonna have these all over this castle because why not? It's fun, they're doable, and they look good. So go ahead and take advantage of that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna go ahead and go back in. Just kind of showing you guys how our guards can make their way to different defensive positions in this castle. So we're gonna go ahead and open this door here. And again, we're back on our battlements with those machiculations, but we're not gonna check out the towers as I stated earlier. We're gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and fly around all this. And another thing, guys, I forgot to mention are these walls are actually realistically thick. If you would have noticed when I was on the wall back there on the battlements that they're about 3 to 4 blocks wide. So yeah, that's pretty cool because that's generally how thick walls would have been, on a castle in medieval times. But anyways, we come to the second gatehouse, our second entry point into our castle city. And as you guys can see, it is heavily fortified on this side. And, I like to think that this would be a last resort when it comes to attacking. Most armies wouldn't even bother to attack this area because it's so highly fortified that you're pretty much saying you want to be completely obliterated and destroyed. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of the defenses this part of the castle has to offer. So let's go ahead and make our way up this wooden bridge. And again, you guys are going to notice that this particular gatehouse has something that the main entryway does not have, and that is this nice beautiful drawbridge right here, as you guys can see. And this is just me using the terrain to my benefit, the natural position, because the terrain sits at a higher elevation, and instead of me making like a slope and working like that, I just took advantage of the fact that just go ahead and set a gate entry way up high and create a bridge, and it actually turned out and it works. And as you guys can see, I was just showing you guys some murder holes and arrow slits that this castle does have. And please forgive me if this sounds a bit rushed, but this video is longer than I intended it to be. But we're gonna go ahead and move on. So we're gonna go ahead and bypass all this because we've seen this already. So we come into this room here, and this is where our arrow slits in the gatehouse wall is located. We sit a little higher, a bit higher in elevation, so I didn't feel a need to put those shutters there because no one's gonna be getting up close enough to shoot at us. And of course we have arrows and other things in that room. So let's go ahead and make our way up this ladder here. We're kind of zooming now. Again, more of what we already seen. And then we come to the portcullis gate mechanism in this tower. And again, it's just like what you've already seen in the other main gatehouse. It's a bit smaller. We do have a smaller gatehouse on this side, but again, we do have a drawbridge too. But again, we have those stones there where we can dump those stones. And here we have this little jar. I like to think it has flammable material in it, maybe oil, I don't know. And maybe we would light our arrows or pour some down there and then shoot a fire arrow down there. We'll put it in that bucket. We'll pop that open and pour whatever it is in there. And this castle's made of stone, so we can shoot down a fire arrow or throw down a torch and set whoever's down there, unfortunate enough to be down there, on fire. And our castle will be fine because it's made of stone. And so again, that's pretty much that. And then if we go up this ladder here, we come to a slightly different mechanism, but this is again what controls our drawbridge. And as you can see, it's just a little bit modified from what the other two are. But again, still same concept. We have our mechanism where we can turn to lower our drawbridge, or turn it to raise it. And then we have that counterweight right there. So again, same thing, same formula. I'm really liking this design, so hopefully, I can maybe improve on it just a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with this particular design for our gate mechanism. And again, as you see that concept, we have those tools and those extra chains and ropes to change out if we need to fix our drawbridge or, portcullis. And now we're gonna go ahead and make our way up this ladder here. And then we're gonna head on straight and go through this door. And again, just like in our first main gatehouse, we come to this kind of hangout room where our guards can eat and have something to drink and just pretty much chill out up here. And so this place is located at the very top of our gatehouse. So, again, if our guards need to, grab a weapon and quickly jump to action, they can, and they can just walk right outside and be on those battlements just like so and start defending. Again, we have working matriculations, so we can, we probably wouldn't shoot any fire arrows or throw any fire down on that because it'll take out that drawbridge. Not unless we really need to destroy that bridge. It really got that crucial. But other than that, we would, of course, just drop these stones that we have and just shoot some arrows down, or maybe even throw a spear down. But that is pretty much it. guys, there's not much else to show you guys on this in this area. I think I have one more area to show you guys. So once we go ahead and make our way out of here, I think we can go out this door here. Yes, we can. It's like a maze moving through these towers. All right, so we're not gonna walk, but as you guys can see, we have a good flanking position on this side. But we're gonna go ahead and just fly on over to the next side, and we're gonna check out some of these siege weapons that this castle employs. So let's go ahead and make our way to this tower. Now, I'm not sure what this type of tower would be called. I want to call it a bastion of some sort, but it's probably not called that. But anyways, as you guys can see, we do have this really nice ballista right here. And one thing I want you guys to see is that it does, if you can see those wheels on it, I put those wheels there because I just wanted to give it, you know, our convey that it can swivel. So they have, there we go. So you guys can see that if they needed to like realign it or aim it in a different direction, they can do that slightly. And these would be its missiles where they would load them up in that chamber. And of course, you guys know how a ballista would work. It would be loaded and this string could be pulled back really tightly, just like a crossbow. And then, you know, it'd be fired. And again, we have these jars here that's filled with like flammable solution or something. And, you know, they can dip those spears in them and then light them and then let it loose. Hopefully it'll hit and destroy any siege weapons, or, you know, at the very least, again, we would set the field on fire, and that will prevent, you know, an army from crossing or passing. So that's that. But now we're going to go ahead and tear that floor away because there's no ladder. So now we're going to go ahead and make our way out. And so right out here stationed is we have our castle's mangonel, and this is a really cool design I came up with. I really like how it turned out. It's a bit bigger than what I wanted it to be, but all in all, it really looks good, and I think the build really works. You know, you can't really have too many defenses, and in this case that, you know, mangonels weren't necessarily that effective as siege weapons. But because this particular mangonel sits so high on our castle wall, that will increase its trajectory as well as the force of that it could produce. So, you know, it makes sense to go ahead and put one right there because we can light these boulders on, you know, fire and fire those missiles at enemy siege weapons that are getting too close. Again, we're not going to get the power of a trebuchet out of this thing, but, you know, the position that it sits at, this mangonel becomes a whole lot more of an effective weapon, especially for our defenders. And, you know, I just love the idea of just having one here. You know, it's all about just using those spaces you have as effectively as possible and just kind of adding in those details that will tell a story. And as you guys can see, we do have backup ammunition for our mangonel here with these big stone boulders. And again, we still have, you know, those views that we can, for our soldiers to patrol. Again, one of the things that I mentioned about this castle is I wanted to create many different positions of flanking. As you see, we have that second wall, and then we have that third tower. So, you know, if anybody is trying to take this castle, they will be moving up this, this drawbridge or this bridge here, and they'll be taking fire from all these adjacent towers and, you know, these vantage points. So again, like I said, an army would never really want to attack this side of the castle unless they absolutely had to or simply just had a death wish. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to our last tower, I believe our last stop on the tour. So this would be currently the smallest gatehouse in the city that directly leads to the castle back there. So it would effectively be the last line of defense before you would face the actual castle's defenses. And so we're gonna go ahead and go inside. Go ahead and close that. And it appears that I did not add any floors yet, but that's okay. So again, we go in through here. And as you guys can see, I was able to squeeze in a portcullis mechanism. So I'm very proud and happy with that. And as you see, we would have guards stationed in here. They can look out and fire on anyone that's getting too close that's not supposed to be entering, as well as man the portcullis gate. But we're going to go ahead and check out the other side as well. We might as well, since we're already here. So we go ahead and go through this door. And again, we're going to go up this little area. And I did not forget my floors there. But again, you guys can see the other side of our gate mechanism. And again, we have views. We can, our guards that would be in this area would be able to see whoever's approaching. So that's pretty much it, you guys. But real quick, we're going to go ahead and fly on over to this last, again, I'm going to call it a bastion because I'm not sure what this particular tower would be called. But again, we have another ballista station here. So basically the idea behind this position is, you know, we're not backed up against a huge ocean. This is more of a very large lake that our castle is backed against. And so, you know, under certain circumstances, I would think that, you know, a small skirmish of troops would try to approach and attack from this side. You know, it wouldn't be too many. It'd be like maybe 5 to 6 guys and probably a couple of boats, and they would, you know, try to paddle out and under the cover of night, maybe even. And you know, we have this ballista here, so we can effectively defend from this position and just shoot not only arrows, but we can fire those ballista missiles at those boats that they would be in. So again, that's what this is here for. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But with that, that will effectively end our tour for this episode. And I hope you guys enjoyed a closer look at the fortified city. I haven't come up with a name for our city, what it would be called. Our castle's name is Gwynhild, but I'm not going to name the city Gwynhild. You know, the castle was named Gwynhild because it was more of a personal reason to the Lord who founded it. So I want to come up with a really good name for our castle city. But, you know, to find out what that'll be, you guys will have to tune in and stay tuned and join me back here for the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Again, if you guys haven't, please do so. I know I always say it, but I really do appreciate it when you guys show me some love. And go ahead and drop a comment down. Let me know what you think and how you feel about this series, if you like the way this castle is coming out so far. And in the next episode, we'll probably do some castle interiors. So if you guys would like to see how those turn out, you guys got to join me back here in the next episode. And then we'll get back to building some stuff inside the city walls. I'm really excited, and I hope you guys are too. But until the next time we meet, I bid you a farewell.